This is Todd.
Hi.
This is Todd's mom.
Hi.
In a moment, Todd's mom will read her son's internet browsing history.
What?
Aloud, please.
No.
Supermodels on trampolines.com. Why don't girls like me? How to overcome an overbearing mother.
Okay, cut.
If you wouldn't want mom looking through your web history, why would you let hackers, ad companies, or your internet and cellular provider do the same thing?
Why does my junk burn?
They can track and record everything you do online, but not if you have ExpressVPN.
Why did you buy a $200 ninja outfit?
For fighting.
ExpressVPN apps keep your activity and identity private while you browse, stream, email, or download. Protect all of your devices with just one click.
Are my hands small?
Okay, I'm done. You guys are all terrible people.
ExpressVPN. Take back your privacy today.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Charles Jackson with Charles Jackson Media, a consultancy connecting people, passion, and purpose. And we are proud sponsors of Content Creators University, brought to you by JP Hightek. You know how people struggle to connect in their personal relationships? Well, I help them break through those barriers so that they can have happy and healthy relationships with themselves, with family members, colleagues, and people from diverse backgrounds. I serve individuals, brands, and organizations looking for better ways to connect. My approach keeps the whole person in mind. That is why we have several points of entry. I connect via social media outlets, in person and virtual workshops, speaking engagements, video and traditional podcasts, and coaching, all centered around our 3-step relational leadership model for connecting with people across differences. So I invite you to connect with me on any of your favorite social media platforms. I'm at Charles Jackson Media, or on the web at charlesjackson.media. You should also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date with all of our video chat series. Thanks for connecting, and enjoy the rest of Content Creators University.
Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode here on Content Creators University. I'm very excited every time we come here because we're about to learn something amazing that's going to help you and I elevate what we do, right? Really make a better impact and transform people's lives and really go full force, full time in what we do. That's what we're here for. And if you're new, well, this is the Content Creators University. Our motto here is create, impact, and innovate. And we have an amazing professor again behind stage, I should say, today, that's going to teach us about the best way to market ourselves, right? And there's a right way and the wrong way to do it. And some things you need to consider when you want to market yourself, your product, your services. You need to understand the tools that you need to use so people can first notice you, want to connect with you, and then want to purchase your product, right? If you're wondering why people not purchasing my product, why are people not signing up for my services, why is it that I am getting the traffic but I'm not having that conversion rate, right? People not converting into customers. There are certain things that you're probably missing, and we have an expert here that's going to teach us that today. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is JP. I'm the host and creator of this platform, a digital master school, Content Creators University, and you can get more information at contentcreatorsuniversity.com. I'm very excited to bring you not just the video podcast, but now the regular audio podcast as well. If you want to listen to it, just go to jphightek.com/podcast. New coming soon. Yes, sir, you heard me. So I'm very excited about that. Now, we have some sponsor on this show. Earlier, you saw there was an ad that was Charles Jackson Media, one of our sponsors that is doing amazing stuff, holding amazing conversations over at Charles Jackson Media. Go ahead and visit him on his YouTube channel as well, Charles Jackson Media. You will love it. And also, we have ExpressVPN, right? We have to protect ourselves with this online presence, digital age that we live in today. If we don't protect our investment and everything we're doing, then we might regret it the day we lose it all. And so ExpressVPN is one that I highly recommend. I use it myself, and it gives you that level of encryption that you need in order to browse safely and also go online and connect with people without having to worry about certain things, right? So look into that. Go to expressvpn.com/JP Hightek. Get yourself 3 months free. Try it out. You will love it. Really, really dope stuff right there. And also, talking about sponsors now, let me go ahead and introduce you to the next sponsor. That is RTN Streams. Let's go ahead and run the ad, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me. All right. This is the guest that we had yesterday. That was Heather. And I'm very excited that Heather was with us yesterday. But we have another guest behind, the scenes today that I'm about to talk to you about. And the guest that where I'm talking about is Jamain Freeman. Jamain, he's a marketing expert, and he's going to teach us some amazing things. But before I even get to Jamain, folks, earlier, you just saw an ad. That ad was from RTN Stream. So, for example, I am broadcasting this video live using Ecamm, but I'm also live at the same time on my Roku TV application, my Fire TV application, my website, everywhere, and I'm using RTN Streams to do that. So, if you are looking for a solution to go live and really take the experience further, then you want to use a solution like RTN Streams, which is the best companion to your Ecamm. For those of you who do not know Ecamm is a live streaming software only available on Mac, and based on my experience, is one of the best tools you can use to really go live and do certain things intricately but very easy, right? So go ahead and try it out. If you're looking for a 15-day free trial, well, I can offer you that. Link is in the video description. Go ahead and check it out. You will love it, folks. Now, who else is going to be here besides Jamain that's going to talk to us today? Who else is coming on the Content Creators University? Well, we do have Diana Gladney will be here with us on July 6th. And Diana's going to talk to us about the best way to brand our content, right? You can market it right. You can, produce it right. But if you do not brand it right, it will not have the right impact. So come with me. Connect with me on this. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on July 6th. It will be dropping. Very excited about that. We also have James Hicks coming to the show. James Hicks on July 13th will be talking to us about how to have credibility, all right? How to establish that credibility within what we're telling people, right? While we're producing the content. How to prepare for that, all right? How can people take us seriously and really not turn the page as soon as we're producing something and we're feeling like, okay, I have subject matter that I really want to talk to people about, but it's not happening. So that is something that you want to check out. And also we will have this Grammy Award winning, and platinum, multiple platinum, winning songwriter and producer. His name is Keith Pelser. He's going to be with us on July 20th. I'm very excited to talk about what happens after the spotlight, right? We're all working hard to get in the spotlight, right? So all the lights are on us so we can shine and get there and achieve some mega things. Well, what happens once we get there? What happens after that? How do we maintain it? How do we sustain it? Well, amazing conversation. Looking forward to that as well. So now we're about to bring our guest over. But before we do that, folks, I just want you to keep in mind that you don't want to miss this. Subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell icon so you don't miss when we go live. I'll be bringing Jamain right after this. Stay with me. All right, all right. For those of you who are wondering what is that, well, that is Reveal TV Network. If you know about Netflix, then you want to look into this because this is like Netflix, but for Christians, right? If you're a family man, you're a faith-based person, you're looking for a family-friendly platform just to stream movies, TV shows, just like your Netflix, but for families, then you want to go check out Reveal TV Network. Just go to revealtv.net, get yourself a free trial, check it out. I personally love it. It is really dope to have a true trusted platform that you can really watch things that embraces the faith and not walk and encourage us in our love with Jesus Christ and everything for those of you who are Christian like I am. So go ahead and check it out. Very, very excited. Thanks. Now let's go ahead and bring on to the stage my man Jamain.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, Jamain.
Man, glad to be here, man. Glad for the invite. Ready to get into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very excited that you took the time to, come here and teach us. Like I would say, you're going to be our professor today. We have a few things that we need to learn from you as a marketing expert, and not just that, a graphic designer just like me. So some awesome things that we're about to talk about. As a content creator, we need to understand how to market ourselves so that we can attract the right people, the right crowd, and make the right impact that we're trying to make. But before we even get into all of that, right, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's ask you to please take a minute to introduce yourself for the folks that really do not know who you are.
Sure. My name is Jamain Freeman. I'm better known as the Marketing You Coach. I am a varied man, I would say. I started out as a musician at the age of 3, and so I've been playing music all of my life. And I started my media company in 2004, Freeman Multimedia. Moved from starting that to realizing that we had clients that they would come to us for a branding and identity package, and then we would create their logo, create their brand, and then they would look at us and say, okay, what's next? And so at that time, we weren't offering strategy and all of that. And so my team and I said, okay, this is something that there's a need there. And so we started Brandtastic Consulting, which was my consulting firm. And, we're consulting brands and what have you. And our latest venture was our digital marketing firm, Bluebird Digital Marketing. So we've gone from that. And so through that whole process, I've become a content creator, music producer, writer, songwriter, you name it. I've had a song on the Billboard Top 20 charts or what have you. And so now we're men of faith. God has now called us to, my wife and I, to pastor. And so we're launching a church here in Greensboro, North Carolina, Numa Life Church. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And, my whole mission is really to help small business owners and entrepreneurs really expand their reach and grow their revenue through the power of social media and digital technology. So that's a little bit about who I am. I'm also a huge family man. Let me say that. Have 4 beautiful children and a beautiful wife of, we'll be celebrating 21 years this year and everything. So I'm so excited about that as well.
Congratulations. That is a milestone. 21 years is not 21 days.
Right,
so
right. We've been together for 26.
Wow.
Close to 26,
Even
right.
better.
Yeah,
Even better. Before I ask you our first main question, let's go ahead and say hello to the folks that are joining us live here. Hey, Cree, how's it going? Thanks for joining us here. We're doing great as well. And I got my man, James Hicks, right? I appreciate what James is saying. He said, look at these kings of content. Hey, we're humbled to hear that, James. Thanks a lot. We're just, trying to impact the world and trying to impact people with value that's going to help everybody elevate what they're doing. And today we're talking about the best way to market ourselves. But before we even think about marketing ourselves, we need to have a way to, we need to have something to market, right? So my first question to you is, whenever, let's say I'm a brand, right? Or let's say I'm a client, not a brand, but a client. And like you said earlier, you help clients, you create the logos and you create their branding and you help them market what they're doing. First of all, let me understand, what is a marketing expert? What does that mean for the folks that would like to understand?
Sure. That's a great question. Because many times people always say that, people do things without knowing what they're doing. And I have a saying where purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Meaning if you don't
That's
understand what your
good.
purpose is, you will abuse it. You don't know what you're doing. So a marketing expert is someone that is very versed in understanding marketing, understanding how to get your messaging and your message across in the marketplace. So there's not somebody that just creates flyers or what have you, just design flyers and all this and can just slap a they get Photoshop and then they think they're all of a sudden a marketing expert. No, it is all about the strategy behind it as well. I think many times, JP, people confuse branding with marketing, and they're two totally different things. And so, like you were saying, if I'm the brand, usually you are the brand, your product, your service, your company is the brand. The marketing is really how you're going to get that message of the brand out. Right. So I use this analogy a lot of times. And I have this in my book, The Marketing Mindset. I said, if I'm the brand, Jamain Freeman is the brand. Right. And there's different vehicles by which I can actually market that brand. And so
Right,
when I
right.
get into my car, I can get into the car and drive to a certain location and I'm marketing the brand. I could get on a train and drive and ride that train and I'm marketing the brand. Oh, I can fly. Right. And so those are the different vehicles by which the brand travels. Well, when we look at marketing, we have radio, we have TV, we have
Right.
billboards, we have digital marketing, we have social media. And so those are the different vehicles. And so understanding marketing and understanding that when you're looking for a marketing expert, you don't want to just go and, consult your cousin Poo Poo, right? Pookie. No, leave Pookie alone and find somebody that's versed in understanding one that has the ability to understand your vision, your brand, and then be able to disseminate that to their team and say, okay, how do we best package this message together, together, and then expose this to the world and to the marketplace. And so, a marketing expert can really do that. They can see it. You can bring me a vision, and I'll be able to, or you can bring me an idea, and I'll bring that vision to a reality, right? And it's a lot of times it's a gift. At least for me, it is because there's been times where the client just didn't have any idea, and they just told me what they were looking for, and immediately on the first round, we nailed it. We nailed the concept, we nailed the strategy, we nailed the core concepts and principles of who they are, and so that's what a marketing expert does for you, and you'll be able to recognize it too. Right, you'll be able to recognize when you're working with someone like JP or myself versus some fly-by-night joker that knows nothing about marketing strategies or techniques or anything of that nature. So you'll be able to. So that's what a marketing expert is.
That's fantastic. Thanks for taking the time to really elaborate on the meaning of a true marketing expert. And you're correct. Too many times, right? People confuse marketing with graphic design and branding. Those are three separate things that all live within the visual messaging atmosphere, right?
Right.
All that is
Absolutely.
visual messaging, but there's different layers to that. You have marketing, you have branding, you have graphic design. Those are three different things. So
Right.
thank you for pointing that out because that is something, an area that a lot of people, overstep and burn bridges, right? Because if you do not understand it, that you're going to burn some bridges, which will affect your messaging. And you said earlier that messaging is a big key. And a marketing expert, like you said, is somebody that understands or can vision the message of the client. Can envision that, right? The person or the professional that can take what the client is trying to visually express and help them with their messaging so that it can have what a true impact. That is what we need because anybody can say, I have a message and I'm sharing my message to the world. So the question is, why will somebody need a marketing expert? I know you halfway answered the question, but let's drill down into that. Why will, like you said, why wouldn't they go to Joe down the street and say, hey, help me promote, right? Because a lot of times that's what they think marketing is, promoting a product, which you have the word promotion and then you have the word marketing. So help us dive deep into this, please.
Sure. The reason you shouldn't go see Pookie and come to one of us is because of just what JP was just saying about being able to really dive down into the specifics of it all, right? The anytime you're doing anything, and I deal with this as well. I call it the 5 Ws, and we'll probably cover that a little bit later. But anytime you deal with who you are and what you represent, it's important for the marketing expert or that individual that you go to understand where they need to go and how they need to place that actual product, service, or business in the marketplace, right? And so that comes with years of experience. That comes with study, that comes with time, really understanding the industry, understanding how even what industry you may be in, what niche you may be in, how that's impacted based on the audience that you're trying to convey your message to. And so your messaging can really it could make you or break you, right? And so it's the same way with a marketing expert. If that marketing expert does not understand, or the individual you go to does not understand anything about marketing, or the intricacies of marketing, right? Like JP said, anybody can have a message, but is that message really resonating with the right audience? Is that message really impacting the world? And so you want your brand, you want your business, your product, whatever you're offering, you want that to be able to make impact. Why? Because when you make impact on people's lives, now you have a raving fan, you have a raving customer, you have a raving client, and they're going to be loyal to you, right? And so that's why it's so imperative that you understand that, because one of the main factors in that is what we call the KLT factor, the know, like, trust factor. And so when people begin to know you and know who you are, they begin to like you and trust you. And now they want to do business with you, right? And so now it's not a burden when you're advertising and you are launching a new product. People will actually buy it now. Why? Because they know that your messaging is resonating with them. But a lot of times we go to the wrong people. We go to the wrong sources, and those individuals have no clue about messaging. They have no clue about color theory. They have no clue about branding and how to pull it all together and have a great looking brand that you will be proud to actually really market and promote, what have you. And so that's really what's really key as far as, the marketing expert and really understanding their role in your actual brand.
Right, right. And that is so crucial because at content creators, and I know somebody might be listening and say, okay, but what's in it for me? Well, what can be in it for a content creator? Because today we're creating content, and too
Right.
many times, whenever I have consultations with content creators, they do not see themselves, like we were discussing a little bit with Heather yesterday, about the fact of looking at themselves as a business.
Right.
Because they just think they're just having a hobby. Where today, in today's new digital era, there's no such thing as a hobby anymore.
Right.
Because if you're just doing it as a hobby, the question is, why do you want to make money off of it?
Right.
Why? Because a hobby is not something you want to, use to sustain your life. But more people want their so-called hobby to pay them. Well, if you want your hobby to be able to pay you, you need to treat your hobby more seriously and more as a business. And whenever you start treating it as a business, then there's certain aspect that come in play. So, Jamain, tell us, what would be the first step for a person that is doing content? Let's say a YouTuber, right? A lot of people do YouTube. Why should a YouTuber consider in the sphere of marketing whenever they're starting out?
You say, what should they consider?
Yes.
Okay. And this is gonna bring me to what I call, and I have this in my book as well, called the 5 Ws of marketing. It's who, it's understanding why, who, what, whom, and where. Okay, let me say that again. That's why, who, what, whom, and where. And so the why are you doing what you're doing? That speaks to what JP was just talking about. Are you just doing this as a hobby, or do you really want to make this a career? Do you want to really become a full-time content creator? What's your passion? What's driving you? What's the driving force? Because here's what I found out, JP, is that that really matters, right? Because if you have a strong why, when you are creating content all of these years, you're creating content for a year straight, and you haven't even grown your channel to 1,000 subscribers, and you become disappointed. In those times, if you have a strong why, you'll push through it. And so a lot of times individuals, they like you said, they treat it as a hobby, and because they don't have that strong why, they don't have that why that's attached to something that's of significance. And I'm not even talking from a financial standpoint. Yes, we want financial freedom and all of that, but I implore you to look even deeper. Look at the type of impact that you can have in the world. How is your content going to change the world? Right? That's what I'm about. I'm about being a world changer, right? And really impacting people's lives to make them better, right? And so if my content is not doing that, if the things that I'm sharing and the content that I'm creating is not really moving in that purpose, then I need to really look at that and kind of reevaluate why I'm doing that. So why are you doing it? Then who are you? It's amazing to me how many people really don't know who they are. They don't know what their strengths are. They don't know what their weaknesses are. They don't know what the skills they have that they can actually market or even create a product around. And so know who you are. Know what are the things or the subject matter that you're really good in, right? As far as your content. What I found with content creators a lot of times is they create stuff that people don't want. Let me say that. They create content that people don't want instead of asking their audience or their perceived audience, what is it that you guys are struggling with, right? What we know in the business world is it's called problem and solution, right? And so when people have a problem, you create a solution to solve that problem, and you'll never be broke a day in your life, right? Because we have to be solution or problem solvers, I should say, in our businesses or what have you. And that's really what business is about. People have a need, they have a pain point, they have a problem, and we have a solution that can solve that for them. And so you have to know who you are. And then thirdly, what are the products and services that you are offering, right? One thing that I think a lot of not just content creators, but a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and all. One thing that they do that I think hinders them, and we've all done it. I've done it. I've been guilty of it as well. Is that we try to do too many things. We try to cater to too many people instead of niching down and say, okay, this is my niche, right? And these are the people that I am going to subscribe to. These are the people that I want to resonate with, right? This is the message that I want to give to them. I kind of use this analogy. If you have a certain bait, right, that's designed to catch a certain fish, let's just say bass, right? And so in the ocean, amongst all these thousand species of fish, you have bass. And so you cast your reel in the ocean and you may catch 10 or 15 bass, right? But wouldn't it make more sense to go to a pond that is stocked with bass, right? And catch 30 or 40 bass versus 10 or 15. See, a lot of times we look at the big picture instead of looking at the small picture and say, you know what, I could be more profitable and make more money in the smaller picture. And so we have to get to that point in understanding what we're offering and nail that down to a specific audience that we want to capture. Speaking of audience, the fourth W, whom are you trying to reach? Who's your target audience? What are the demographics for that? And demographics goes way beyond just their age, way beyond just their race and all of this. It goes even deeper than that. What restaurants do they eat at? Where do they shop? Because what I call an ideal customer profile, ICP, is different for someone that shops at Neiman and Marcus versus Walmart, right? It's a totally different mindset. It's a different from someone that eats at Golden Corral versus that eats at Ruth's Chris all the time. And so you have to understand these types of things because and a lot of times it's a lot of work on the front end. But I always tell my clients, listen, do the hard work one time and get paid the rest of your life for it. Right. So, make sure if you're recording a video, record the video content, record the course, do the hard work, let your audience improve that and get paid the rest of your life for it. So know who you're trying to reach. OK. And then lastly, the last W is where. where do they reside, right? If your product or service is designed for a 60-year-old elderly individual, it doesn't make sense for you to be on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Mm-hmm.
individual more than likely is not going to be on Instagram. And so you have to know where your audience is, right? If you have a younger audience, know the demographics of the social media outlets that you're using, Facebook and Instagram. Like Instagram, we already know it's a youthful platform, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the youth love taking pictures of themselves and selfies and all of this. And so if you have a product that's designed for youth, mostly females or what have you, then Instagram is going to be where to go. If you have a product that's designed for B2B, business to business, then we know that LinkedIn is where we need to be,
Right.
and
Right.
Facebook as well. And so all of these things matter. Those are the 5 Ws. And so that'll help you if you're saying, okay, how do I start marketing this thing? Well, the first thing is you have to get the foundational things. As a musician, we always wanted to do the fancy runs and all that as a piano player that we see, Chick Corea and all the greats do. But
Mm-hmm.
it had to start with us learning our scales, right? It's like
Right.
I
Right.
never forget as I was learning, I had one of my sister's ex-boyfriends. He used to tell me, he said, listen, man, he said, learn your skills. I used to, let me show me that, man. Show me all of that. Show me that. He said, listen, I'm telling you, learn your skills. Yes, it's going to be boring. It's the same work over and over again because you're building your muscle memory. Learn your
Mm-hmm.
skills. And ultimately that is exactly what I did. And it allowed me to be free in my playing. Right. And so it's the same way in your business. Study what you're doing, study your craft, study other content creators. Now, notice I
Mm-hmm.
said study them, not copy them, but
Mm-hmm.
study them. We call it funnel hacking. If you know of Russell Brunson, he has this software called ClickFunnels, and his whole tribe we call it funnel hacking. And so funnel hacking is looking at what a competitor is doing and modeling it, not copying it, but modeling it. Well, what is modeling? Modeling is says, okay, they have a headline here, so I'm gonna put a headline here. They have images, a certain amount of images versus text here, or what have you. And so understanding those types of things, you say, okay, I'm not copying their copy and all this. I'm going to apply that to what I have. And so you do the same thing in business. And that's the things that you have to know before you even think about marketing or promoting anything. You have to know these 5 things. And when you know that, then you can begin to move forward. You can begin to share. You can begin to do the whole marketing thing, get the flyers and all this type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And be consistent and I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. Be consistent in your content and showing up on time, what have you.
Right, right. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, being consistent, because that was going to be my next question, right? Because you can start marketing a product right now, but how do you sustain that, right? How do you
Right.
keep the impact going? How do you keep people coming back? Because yes, let's say you have a major opening, right? You have a major opening for, let's say, a mega opening for a show that you're launching, and you've marketed everything. You did the communication, the messaging, the graphics. You really, you've done it all. Now people showed up. Now, how do we maintain, or how do we keep them showing up? How do we keep that traffic coming? What's your
Right.
intake on that?
So my take on that is really it's about the content and really the engagement, right? How engaged are you keeping them? I see this all the time, man. I see this all the time where people they do a great job pre-launch,
Mm-hmm.
but they do a terrible job post-launch. And so you do a great job leading up to that. But what do you have in place after you launch? Many times people don't think about after the launch. How am I going to move forward? And so what I suggest is you plan that out. Everything that you do, you plan it. And so one of the things is you find out what's off the bat, you find out what's going to be the most engaging content, right? And then understanding after you've posted, after you've launched, look at the data, look at the analytics. The data will tell you what to do next, right? And so that's one of the things that a lot of people don't do. They don't track, right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
track or measure what they're doing. I have a saying that I inspect what I expect. And so I'm expecting a certain level. So I have to inspect that to make sure that that takes place.
Ooh,
And
that's
so
powerful. I need you to say that again, please.
Yep. So I inspect what I expect. So I have an expectation of 1,000 subscribers in the next 2 to 3 months, right? And so I'm inspecting the things that I'm doing to move towards that. And so when you do that, now you have a not only a bird's eye view, but you have a very detailed view where you've now flown down and see, in a magnified way what exactly is working as it relates to your content. And guess what? Then when you know that, now you can provide more of that content. Your audience will always
Right.
tell you, they'll always tell you what they like. All you have to do is ask, right? Even when you put out the content, that's one of the best ways. People say, well, how do I know what kind of content to make and all this? Always ask your audience because they're going to tell you. And so that's a great way to not waste your time, right? Because a lot of content creators, they create content that people don't want to hear about.
Right. Right.
Well, why create content on principle one when people are not struggling with principle one? They need principle four and five, right? And so you want to create content in that manner. When we look at even like Ecamm, right? A lot of us create content to help those that are coming on using Ecamm because we understand that there's certain struggles that we went through, right? And
Right.
our audience.
Right.
So when you go into the Ecamm community, the group, they let you know right out the gate, okay, I'm struggling with this. And so that's one of the this is some sauce here. That's one of the best ways to find content that you want to create that people are going to love is go into whatever niche you may be in, go into different groups, join different groups, and see what are the questions that people are posting, right? And then once you have those questions, create content around those questions within your niche, within your space, and that will allow you to keep your audience engaged, right? And it'll allow you to also grow your audience and your following as well. And so it's important that you understand that is really going to the Facebook groups, join the groups and don't go spamming the groups and all this, but just sit back and watch and kind of, post, introduce yourself, but then just kind of watch and see what questions come about. That's what we do. In Cam
Right.
Live, we see,
Right.
okay, what are people struggling with? If we don't know how to do it, I'll actually go and learn how to do it. Like a black hole, they were talking about black hole audio versus loopback. And so I literally went and learned how to do, black hole. And I was like, yes, loopback is a whole lot easier. But I understand some people may not want to pay for a loopback at this point. And so black hole, it was a free version, right? But I understood that somebody needed that, right? The Logitech video that I did, it's one of the more popular videos on my channel because
Right.
people had Logitech, but they were struggling making it look good. And so I literally did a video on how to make your Logitech camera look like a DSLR, or a mirrorless camera. And so that was a real popular video. And so that's really the secret to the sauce. That's the secret sauce is really finding, going in those groups and finding, or forums. You can go to forums and find individuals, see what questions people are asking in forums and different instructional boards and all this. And you will get tons of content that you can create that then you could go and keyword and tag in YouTube with your titles and all of that using, software like TubeBuddy and all of that. And so when people are going to YouTube, the number one search engine in the world, when they're going to YouTube, now when they type in that question, guess who pops up? Your content does. And so now you're creating, it becomes a cycle, right? It becomes a cycle. And now you're creating content that they love. And because of that, they're sharing the content with others, which continually makes you grow, what have you as well. So
That's fantastic. I mean, one thing I love about you, Jamain, is that you don't cut corners. You take the time to be very elaborate and explain why you're saying this, why this should be that, so that we can all be on the same page. Because if we do not fully understand, we'll always make the same mistakes. And if you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, it's not going to happen.
Right.
The reason why you're not getting in different results because you keep doing the same thing. And here's the deal. You don't just go, and that's my takeaway, right? You don't just go and try to market something. Marketing, the actual endeavor of marketing is the last step.
Absolutely.
You start all the way on top. All the way on top is, first of all, why do you want to market this? Who do you want to market it to? Where do you want to market it at? Because your target audience, right? Where are they?
Right.
Right? And now, how are you going to approach them? What medium you're going to use? What's your message? Once you understand the target audience, you can either change it all or tweak your message so
Right.
that it can be accepted. If you just go and talk about your, how you call it, basement, what makes you think I want to hear about your basement?
Right.
Maybe I don't care about your basement, but what I care about is how you put that huge plasma TV in your basement.
Absolutely.
See, when you investigate it, you realize that's what I'm interested in. Now you're like, okay, I was going to talk about my basement, but in reality, they care more about the TV that I got in here. So
Right.
that's what's going to bring people back in, right? That's what people are going to care about whenever you promote. I love what you said, Jamain. Where purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. All right. Inspect what you expect. That means that make sure you do the homework of the result you're trying to get. And the part that a lot of people do not appreciate, and that's why they come to people like you and me to help them, is because we will do the boring part of the job, which is looking at data, which is analyzing what can be successful, which is sitting down, writing down strategy of success. And that's the deal. A good marketing guy or a branding expert like I am will give the client their future expectations.
Right.
Like it will draw down, okay, this is what we're going to do today. This is the result we expect, but this is where it could get if we do it right. If things
Right.
go the way we want it, this is the final result in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. So for the folks that are wondering, why can't I go to Joe down the street? Why do I have to spend the money to get a marketing expert? Why do I have to go see a branding expert? And not just a basic graphic designer? Well, here are the tools and the reasons why. Now, the question is, are you willing to do all the job yourself? One thing that I've learned, and Jamain, you can attest to that, is that one person cannot do it all.
Right. Cannot.
And I know you have something to say about that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. That's another thing. As content creators, and I understand when we're starting out, many times you have limited funds or what have you. You're focused on getting, equipment and all this, but there comes a time where you are better off, you're better served. I like to say it like this: outsourcing your weaknesses, right? And so the things that you're strong in, you continue to utilize those things, but the things that you may be weak in or not great in, then don't waste your time learning those things, because you're going to spend more time frustrated and trying to learn a whole new skill instead of finding somebody like JP and say, you know what, I want you to create those video graphics for me. I want you to create my flyers. I want you to create, my overall brand or what have you. And so it's always imperative that we understand where we are. We only have a certain amount of time in a day, right? And so time management is so essential, to the solopreneur, to the entrepreneur, especially if you don't have a team. And so it's important. I'm gonna tell you like this. I literally went from a freelancer, a solopreneur, to building my team. But it was then the moment I started building my team is the moment where I started making real good money. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I could expand, right? And that was the one thing, and I knew that. I was like, man, I can't continue on like this. And what did I do? I paid $9,000 for a business coach. Now, some of y'all might be like, whoa, but it was the
Right.
best investment. And check this out. I did it in a pandemic. Okay. I did it in a
Wow.
pandemic because I was hitting that ceiling of, okay, one year I would hit six figures. The next year it was like, okay, you know what I mean? I was like, man, what am I doing? And I'm stretching myself thin, not to mention, I have church, that I was serving faithfully in, that I was the minister of music at. I was over the website. I was over the video production and broadcast. And while I was operating my own business outside of that, right? So I was full-time in ministry. And so we were, I was going to the church working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, plus doing my clientele. And so it got to a point where I was like, okay, God, something's got to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know this is, if this is what you're calling me to do, then you make a way. Made that way, and I got into it, and I was like, okay, and this is, I think, where a lot of content creators or just business owners or product creators in general, they never had that conversation or that real come to Jesus moment where they said, okay,
Right.
how do I expand? How do I grow this? The reality is you cannot grow doing everything by yourself. You just cannot do it. When you look at all of the big companies, Fortune 500 companies, when you look at even those that are huge
Mm-hmm.
influencers, they have teams. Grant Cardone, a lot of the others, they have teams that work behind the scenes to make them look like they look on video, right? Charles, that's in the comments now. You know what I mean? JP, myself, we have teams, right? Charles has got JP doing all of his graphics now. JP's going to be doing some of my stuff. And so it's like we understand that we have to bring people on to help us facilitate, watch this, the vision that we have, the vision that we have
Right.
for our company. It was never ordained, whether it's in business, in the marketplace, whether it's in the church, whether it's in a organization, it was never ordained for you to fully accomplish the vision by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was never in the cards, right? And so we have to understand that and have to be willing. Many times, this is the problem: we're not willing to release and to let go.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's our baby, and we don't want to. And I know you can attest to this. We've had clients come to us, and they've had an idea where they bring a logo. It looks like they got it made on Fiverr at the $5 rate, and not at the $100 or $125 rate.
Right.
And so you but they are so married to that concept, and we're telling them, listen, this is not the way to go. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
are you interested in getting products? Are you interested in going to Press and Sew and have them screen print
Mm-hmm.
your shirts? Well, I'm coming in to let you know that if you have 12 colors in your logo, you're going to pay a boatload of money. Okay, you got 12 different screens that you got to create, but see, they don't
Right.
understand that stuff. And so sometimes you have to have that real conversation with them. Well, we had to have the same thing with ourselves. I mean, it was a point where I was like, you know what? I can't do this by myself. I've been doing it by myself for, 10, 12 years. I've got to get to a place now where, because my vision, my goal was to have a 7-figure business,
Mm-hmm.
a 7-figure agency. And then look at an exit plan if I desire to do that. But in order to do that, there's no way in the world you can do that doing everything by yourself. So I implore you, if you're at that point, and here's the other thing that happens, you become burnt out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now, because
Mm-hmm.
you're doing so many things, you can't really focus your attention and really have the energy to really focus on one thing solidly, right? And so that's why it's important to have a team, so that way you can focus on building. If you're the CEO, focus on the vision of the actual corporation or the business, and preparing for that. There's three things that I say that every entrepreneur, every leader should have. One is hindsight, two
Mm-hmm.
is insight, and three is foresight. Hindsight is looking at the industry or that you may be in or the marketplace and seeing what's happened in the past, right? What are the things that we did right? What are the things we did wrong? How do they apply to where we at today, right? Insight is looking at what's happening in the world today. Like, for instance, right now, we're dealing with a pandemic and understanding that.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that affect my business? And then foresight is seeing what's going to be happening, having the ability to see where the industry is headed at, right? Where technology
Right.
is headed, where social media is headed in the next 3 to 5 years. Um, and being able to adapt my business right now to prepare for that. And so a lot of times people don't have those three, what I call the three sites in my book. I call them three sites. They don't have those. And so they're not as effective as they could be. I mean, let's look at it. Let's be clear. Toys R Us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Kmart. I mean, we could go down the line. A lot of the mom and pops, they used to be, what was the the video store. I can't remember right off. Blockbuster
Right,
video. You
blockbuster.
know, they didn't see Netflix coming. You know what I mean? They didn't
No,
see
no.
they didn't see Redbox coming, and so
Hmm.
you have to be able to see that. We see it today. We see the pivots happening even right now. When we look at a Walmart and we look at how Amazon has just crushed everybody, but
Hmm.
Walmart was like, hold up. It was like, hold up now. We were the first ones to do this now. We're gonna try to keep pace with whatever you're doing. I mean, to the point where did you know that you could buy a casket on Walmart.com? A casket.
That is
You know what I mean?
insane.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
it's like it was like, okay, if Amazon's gonna be a be all to everybody, then we're gonna do the same thing, that
Right.
type of thing. But that's really important in understanding where you're at and understanding what your threshold is. So that way you can release that and really be able to give your all in all to your business and your vision.
That is fantastic. And it is so true what you said. There's so many hours in one day.
Mhm.
How can you
Yeah.
manage a seven-figure business doing it all yourself? Is
Right.
impossible. How
Right.
can one person, for example, let's say you have 10 clients that need you at 10 different locations at the same date, at the same time.
Right.
How can you do that? You cannot do that. You will have to let go of some of them. And that is where you're missing out. You're missing out on the seven-figure possibility of your business. You might
Right.
think, and here's the deal. Here's the deal. And I wanted to add to what you just said, Jermaine, because it is so crucial that people understand.
Mhm.
Being crazy busy doesn't mean you're successful.
Absolutely. That's good, man. That's the absolute truth.
Being busy, having your calendar packed, jam packed, does not relate to success. As a matter of fact, you are struggling. That's what it means.
It's the opposite. Yep.
Because that's the opposite. Successful folks, they're on the yacht somewhere. While they're asleep, they're making money. Successful folks are not busy from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Right.
They have time, they have quality time. Successful people will go out and play golf. They'll go out and connect with friends,
Right.
really be alive. But if you have to do that, then you just exchange a 9 to 5 job within your passion,
Right.
within the thing you like. Now you're doing the same 9 to 5 habit. That's what you're doing. Because now, yeah, you're not busy working for somebody else, but now you have your nose deep and you cannot even afford, stepping out. And here's the deal. How do you know that you're at the wrong place? Well, the way you know is what will happen if you don't take that contract?
Mm-hmm.
Would you still be able to pay your bills?
Right.
No, you cannot pay your bills because if you don't do the job, guess what? Your bills are not going
Don't
to
get
be
paid.
paid.
That's right.
And that's the problem. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, okay, how can I do this? How can I automate this thing without me being the foundational equation of the matter?
Right. Right.
How can I take myself out of the equation and everything still working the same? There's no difference.
Right.
Once we can understand that, then we've built a successful strategy. Then we've built a successful company, business. And that's what we should all aspire to. This is some phenomenal conversation, Jamain, and we can go on for a very long time, I know. But we've gotten to the
Yes.
end. And I want people to buy your book so they can learn more about it. Can you go ahead and tell
Yes,
us
sir.
more about your book, please?
Sure. Yep. So my book, I being in marketing all these years and what have you, I noticed that a lot of marketing books talk about strategies and things of that nature and where to market, how to do Facebook ads and all of that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what I realized was that a lot of people don't understand the mindset, right? And so mindset from not only the consumer side, but your mindset as well, and understanding that marketing and promotion is a long play. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that you can just do one time and think you're going to get results. It's something that has to take place. Branding is something, when you think of a brand, you think of, a fraternity, what have you, that puts that mark on a arm, or you have that herdsman that actually puts that mark of his stamp on his cattle, right? So people know who they are and what have you. And so that happens over and over again. So the book really talks about the mindset of the consumer, and how they think, how they approach your product, how they look at your product, how do they perceive your product, and what goes into that perception, right? Because many times we're wondering why our audience is not really resonating with our message, and it could be just the how they were brought up. It could be where they are in life right now. It could be
Right.
their morals and values. They may not line up with your brand, and
Mm-hmm.
so you have to understand these types of things. And so it really goes down into that, and really how to develop the marketer's mindset, and understanding that it's an investment mindset. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And being able to target the right individuals, and we go over what we call the ideal customer profile, and like I was saying earlier, really digging deep into those demographics. With the going below the surface to understand exactly who that individual is, that it's your actual audience, your target audience. Because what will happen is you'll see yourself being so much more effective in the long run, because you did that in the beginning or what have you. And so I'm really excited, man. It's been a process. It's been a project that's been, I guess, about 4 years now in the making or what have you. Life
Wow.
happened, and so we had to push it back and had some things happen
Mm-hmm.
with one of the editors and things. And so now we're actually going to be launching and actually releasing the book in August. And so I'm so excited about that. But yeah, you could go and you can pre-order the book now. I'm doing actually a free offer, so free plus shipping. So you can pay for the just the shipping, and you can have the book and really get the book, and let me know. Once the book comes out, let me know. Give us a review and let me know how the book has really impacted you or what have you.
That's fantastic. And folks, to get the book, all you got to do is go to the website, JamainFreeman.com. Okay.
Yes, sir.
JamainFreeman.com is the place to go. And once you scroll down halfway, you will see this face right there. I know for the folks that listen to the podcast, they're like, what face? Well, we have a dope face in here in the studio on the live stream. And this is a book that I believe anybody that, wants to create anything should get. Again, like we said earlier, we're not talking about just the basic information. We're talking about the envelope of several years of experience, of hardships, of successes, and solution strategies that is jam-packed into one book. The marketing mindset. I will be buying mine, not just paying the shipping, but I will be buying mine not only because it's packed with value, and that's the thing, right? The only way, like I would say, the only way to grow, the day you stop growing, the day you stop learning, you stop growing, right?
Absolutely.
If you want to keep growing, you have to keep learning. And in order to keep learning, that means you have a humble heart. So you got to be humble enough to know that you do not know it all. I do not know it all. So the day you know you do not, Steve Jobs will even tell you that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those successful folks are always growing. The only way to stay on top, of the competition is by not just studying the competition, but learning how to grow.
Absolutely.
That's going to keep you on top. And that's what we're just talking about. Once you've marketed, once you put in all the hard work, how do you maintain yourself there? Well, this is how you maintain yourself, by buying books like The Marketing Mindset, by going to JamainFreeman.com and purchasing this product. Right now, you can get the product for free. You just buy shipping. If I were you, I am going right now to purchase that. That's what you will do, right? So we will all want to grow. Now, Jamain, I want to thank you for your time today and everything that you've deposited into our spirit. We've learned a lot. We really learned a lot from you, and I could never expected less than that. But I'm still not going to let you go. What about the folks that want to connect with you on social media and things like that? Where are you available? Where are those best places? Can you share that with us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I'm available on all social media platforms, except for Snapchat. I am on TikTok though. But you can go to Jamain Freeman on all social media platforms. On Facebook, it's Jamain A. Freeman. And of course, Twitter, Instagram, those are Jamain Freeman as well. YouTube, you can follow me as well, / Jamain Freeman on there as well. And yeah, I'm excited. Go to the website, like JP was saying, and order the book. I'm sure it's going to really help you in your marketing journey or what have you.
And also, you have for those of you that are not here in the studio with us on the live stream, he has a dope hat, Hustle, and he does have some stores. Let's go ahead and talk about that, Jamain.
Okay, yeah, sure. I have 2 stores, actually 3 stores. My wife has a store as well called the Dazzle Diva, but my store is totalfaithapparel.com. And so this is faith-based apparel for those that are in the faith-based community, or outside of that as well. And then I also have startupstyle.co. Startupstyle.co is I was getting a lot of different kind of sayings and things for entrepreneurs, and I was like, you know what? Let me create a store geared to the entrepreneur, geared to the startup, geared to the solopreneur, freelancer, or what have you, content creators, or what have you. And so I have that store as well, startupstyle.co. So yeah, I would love to have you as customers and patrons, and yeah, let me know if you purchase a T-shirt, take a picture, a selfie in it, and send it to me. I definitely love to put it on the site or what have you.
Nice. Well, Jamain, thank you so much. Please stay backstage as go ahead and close with the team here. I'll be right with you. All right, folks, this is the end of the Content Creators University. Like you know, here we come every single week to learn how to create, impact, and innovate, and to understand that this is an ever-growing industry, right? A tech media is always growing, and we need platforms just like this to keep growing. So if you appreciate this type of videos, go ahead and smack the like button at the bottom there. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. All right, share this episode with a friend or family member that is into creating something tangible, something impactful. And of course, I'll see you guys for another episode next week. You be safe, like I always say. This is your boy JP. See you next time. Bye bye.